Trinnette Morris is the skilled chef and owner behind the Trindy Gourmet brand. As a popular caterer in Palm Beach County, Morris's food has been enjoyed by county and city officials, event guests, and everyday patrons of her Trindy Gourmet cafe in West Palm Beach. The Palm Beach Beat had the opportunity to pick the creative brain of the powerhouse behind the popular Trindy brand.
My name is Trinnette Morris. I'm the owner of Trindy Gourmet, which is a full-service catering company. We're also a personal chef company, as well as for the last year we've had this beautiful cafe here on Rosemary Avenue in the historic Northwest neighborhood. So I was born and raised here in West Palm Beach. Actually was raised for my first 5 years in Riviera Beach in Monroe Heights. So we moved to West Palm Beach when I was 5 years old. We moved in the historic Roosevelt Estates, which is also known as the Westward. Through that experience and through that neighborhood, it really truly shaped me and was very instrumental, I think, in who I am today. I thank my parents for that move. Monroe Heights was great, and having that foundation was wonderful, but definitely moving to the Westward and the relationships and just that community, that strong sense of community is evident today in who I am and the things that I do. I think I've always had a passion for cooking. My mom is one of 16, so my grandmother, I always saw my grandmother cooking when we would visit Georgia, and my mom is the best cook that I know, period. My dad is a lifelong chef as well, so it was just instilled at me at a very young age. Home economics was my favorite course in middle school. That's when we actually got to cook in school, which that would come back as well. So it's always been there. The weird and very interesting thing is because I've always seen such large meals prepared, it's almost hard for me to dial down and cook for 2 people. So I've just always seen, so scaling for me, people are always interested in how you scale for events of 100 or 200 or 300. That's actually easier for me than cooking for, just myself sometimes. Sometimes I'm trying to cook for 1 or 2 and I'm like, what do I do with this small piece of meat? So the passion has been there. Definitely my parents and grandparents as well. And my best friend Janice Neely Brown. We spent a great deal of time cooking as kids. Not real like in the backyard cooking mud pies, like we used to do it up. So yeah, we spent a lot of our time playing cooking. So it's just always been there, literally, just always. Monkey bread. That's the first thing I can remember. I'm sure it was something else, but the first real memory of bona fide cooking and people asking me to do it again and again and again and again was monkey bread. I remember the first time I made it, I probably made it for 2 weeks straight. Wow, Trindy Gourmet. Well, in college, the guy that I dated in college always would say, you're gonna open up a restaurant, and when you do, you need to call it Trindy. And so it actually came from him because he's the first person to actually speak the trendy part of it. And then that was in, I think, 93, 94. And of course, I wasn't thinking restaurant then. I wasn't even thinking catering or wasn't thinking of it as a brand at all. I mean, back then, we didn't talk about brand the way we do now. I guess in about 2010 is when I really started thinking about, I was in corporate America, had left teaching in its traditional sense in 2003. Went to work for the company Leapfrog, was doing amazing, loved it, didn't ever think I was going to leave. But when the culture of that company started to change, I started to really think about, I want to do something on my own in education. And while I do that, why don't I just do everything that I want to do? So I started Trindy Education Solutions, which is my education brand. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to start Trindy Gourmet. And the most interesting thing was I didn't tell anybody. It was all kind of done covertly in secret, not even my parents. And I need to go back and find that Facebook memory because I literally released both, I think, logos on the same day on Facebook. It was like, here's my new thing. Here's what's about to happen. Trindy Gourmet, Trindy Education Solutions. I was in New York City, working the education part of the business, and I got a phone call. I'll never forget. I was getting ready to go to dinner, and the phone rang, and it was an executive assistant of a person, and they said, we found you on the Personal and Private Chef Association website. I have a family who will be in Orlando for a week, family of 11, and they want breakfast, lunch, and dinner at their house made every day for the 7 days. So I was like, okay. And I said, well, I'm about to go to dinner. Can you email me, the information? I'm thinking, I really haven't processed this fully. I know I've done it, and I knew I was gonna be on this website listed, but I still hadn't really walked through all of the entire process. And she said, well, here's the thing. They need sample menus tonight. So I was like, okay, well, I'm about to go to dinner. If I can get them to you, I will. And if not, thank you for calling me. And I hung up the phone. She was like, okay, if you can email them, great. If not, we got one other person that we're looking at. We'll just, make a decision, because it's not a lot of people in Orlando, personal private chef, who specialize or who have soul food listed, and this client wanted to make sure that the person could cook soul food, although soul food is not how I brand myself at all. So after I hung up the phone, I was like, I gotta go to dinner, they need them tonight. And something just said, stop, put together the menus and email them. You can eat later. I stopped because I didn't even have menus put together. I had concepts in my head, of course, but I didn't have anything typed out or anything. And so that night I literally sat and probably did like 7 pages of menus of all the stuff that had ever been in my head. And I emailed them to them that night, and she emailed me back, I think it was like 2 o'clock in the morning, and she said, the menus look great, my client's going with you. From that personal and private chef experience, I decided, okay, let's add some catering in. So started doing catering. That started to take off, but I was still holding back. That's the bottom line, because I had this other business that was really my primary business. So I was dibbling down when I wanted to. I could say no at any time because I had this thing over here that was the primary. And so fast forward now to 2015 is when I decided, let's go full force with the catering. Let's stop playing. Let's just go all out with that. And then deciding to do the cafe. What I try to focus on here, during my time with Leapfrog, I had an extensive amount of travel. And that gave me the opportunity to eat at some of the best restaurants in this country. And the great part about being able to do that is typically what's happening in just the great restaurants, they're keeping up with the trends. And so although my ex had, pinned the whole trendy thing, it just made sense in terms of who I am. I like different food. I don't like to eat the same thing. I want to almost be surprised almost every time that I eat. Or be surprised every time I go into a place. So I want to always have a new and different experience. So Trindy played well for my name. It played well for how I like to eat. And also played well for how I like to cook. So a lot of times when I was cooking, if I had been on the road and I did decide to cook something, I typically was doing something that I had seen, liked, or maybe even disliked at a restaurant that I wanted to put my own twist on. or I wanted to come back and duplicate something that I know wouldn't make it here as quickly as it would make it to, let's say, a New York City or California. It's important to me to have things that people can't go and get down the street. And so we take a really close look at that in terms of what we have and what other people have. That's important to us. Again, it goes back to that trendy part, just staying ahead of the curve. I'm constantly reading trade magazines to see what's going on, what's about to change, what's popping in New York, what's popping in California, what's popping in Louisiana, and how we can integrate some of those same things here. And just staying in tune with the consumer. I eat out a lot. And it's not because I can't cook, obviously. It's being able to stay abreast with what is going on and what people are wanting. So I feel like I can bring that sense of community here. Someone who actually talks to people and cares. I want to know when I see a kid walking by at 9:30, 10, why aren't you in school? Because I'm an educator. I'm a teacher no matter where I am and what I'm doing. And so it gives me the opportunity to interact with a group of people that I feel a lot of time thinks that things like this aren't for them. And it's like, just because it has the word gourmet on it does not mean it is not for you. You know what I mean? You can come in, and it happens all the time. People are walking back from the neighborhood and they come in. I mean, this is for you. I'm here. I'm not here for the courthouse. We want them to come in. I'm here for the community, period. To let them know that, there's an African American female in here, and when little girls walk by, you have tangible access to success. It's not on TV. You can walk in here, you can have a conversation with me, you can touch me, you can feel me, and we can chop it up. You have tangible access to me. So that's really why I'm here. One of my mentors said to me this statement, and that's the other thing that kind of propelled me as well. He said, "Trinnette, peak performers are planted in their industry." And to me that meant, although I was catering, although I was doing personal meals, he was like, people aren't going to take you seriously until they see you planted somewhere. So that's the first thing. If you have this idea and you want to be taken seriously with your idea, you got to plant yourself. That doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to open up a brick and mortar, that you're going to be able to walk into people will be able to walk into a facility initially. But at least do enough so that people know that you're serious about what it is you're doing. What people hate to hear is someone who talks about over and over and over again what they want to do, and there are no steps. People will start to tune you out. People will start to believe that you're just talking and that you're just looking for sympathy. Make people believers by doing something, whatever that something is that you can do it. The other thing for me is failure. I don't let people define what failure is. I've had a bounce house company. Listen, I've done a lot of things. And people can't tell me that I failed at it because they don't define what failure is. I decided to sell them because I wanted to. Period. That's just how that went down. So define what failure, don't let society define what failure looks like. A lot of people are scared to start because they're scared to fail. Well, what does failure really look like? To me, those are all stepping stones to get to ultimately wherever it is I will end up. You got to be legit. And so that's the other thing that I would say in terms of advice. If you are not in business legitimately, everybody starts somewhere. I was cooking out of my parents' house at one point, then started cooking in the commercial kitchen. Okay, Chef Allen was like, in order to cook here, you need to have a license, you need to have insurance, blah, 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 blah. So I had to get some paperwork in order. In order to move here, I had to have some paperwork in order. In order to get a contract with the city, with the county, I had to have some paperwork in order. So the quicker you can legitimize, you'll open up a new stream of income because you'll have the flexibility to do business with businesses who require that. So that would be that's probably my biggest advice. In terms of Trindy Gourmet, what are we gonna do next? We launched our product, and really it was a soft launch at our year anniversary, but you're gonna see that kind of ramp up and really go to another level during the holidays. I wanted to just kind of get feedback, so we feature it here, we sell product here, which that's been doing well, because I'm not doing anything. I'm not even talking about it on social media. You know, I talked about it at the opening and I haven't talked about it since, so people come in and get it. It's available online, but you'll really see us full force push that. I have this whole honey baked ham concept in my head for the holidays, where people can come in, pull out a refrigerator, get their turkey, get their ham, get their mashed potatoes, their macaroni and cheese, their green bean casserole, whatever it is. So we're gonna follow that same honey baked ham concept, whole food concept of ready to make, ready to eat, ready to put in the oven food. So you'll see some things change. The refrigerator will go here. You'll be able to come in, pull out your stuff for the holidays, and go home and warm it up. And that'll be year round. So that's coming. And then thinking a lot about my next concept. You know, what I want to do next in this space.
To learn more about Trinnette Morris and Trindy Gourmet, visit www.trendygourmet.com.